My beloved people, this morning, first and foremost, I wish to take this moment to extend the greatest possible greetings to the fathers of today. May God bless you. May God keep you. May God give you all that you need in order to perform the work of your state in life, your fatherhood. One of the most important things that is missing in today's world, in today's society, is the proper image of father. We must return to that if we ever expect to breathe properly again. And so therefore I bless you, fathers. I cannot not bless mothers as well. But today, the mothers have had their day already. Now it's the time for the fathers. And I salute you and ask Almighty God to grant unto you all that you need. Today also, I would like to draw our attention to a simple little thing, but not so simple after all, in that we ourselves are, in a way, going through history. Today, we start the great countdown. Today is the fourth Sunday after Pentecost, isn't it? And we shall go on, and this, when we stop counting, we shall be pretty much at the end, we will be at the end of the liturgical year, but we will be also pretty much at the end of the year. And not only this time will we have this to go with. Not only is this the ending of the present year, but it is the ending, it's the last time that we shall count this for this century. And it goes beyond that. It is the last time that we shall count this for this 1,000 years, for this millennium. And we are living through this. And we are experiencing what this has in store for us. My beloved people, today, in today's gospel, we noticed the faith of the apostles. They were faced with that which they couldn't understand. Something unusual had taken place. They had been fishing all night long, and nothing had happened. And they were professional fishermen. They were experienced fishermen. And they knew that it was impropitious to go fishing at that time anymore. But this man came to them and said, "Go out." And they did. And this man told them to cast their nets, and they did. And they were obedient to him, not yet knowing very much about him, if anything at all. And they brought in the unbelievable. We today are faced with the unbelievable. That which is believable, that which is reality, we have cast aside. And we have forgotten, really, what our purpose here on this earth is. We've gone over this time after time after time. But somehow, in the back of our minds, in the back of our heads, we continue to be distracted. We continue to place emphasis on things that we can feel. We continue to place emphasis on the fish that fell into the net. We count the fish. We see their great numbers. But that does not satisfy us. There's still something missing. In our society today, we need not go into that this morning, though Father is at the center of it nevertheless. Our society today, in reality, has collapsed, hasn't it? And what has brought about the collapse of our society? Our religion has collapsed. You say, well, now, what do you mean by that? That our society has collapsed. I mean simply that in our society today, who are the worst enemies that we've got? Who are the ones that we can no longer trust? Who are the ones that will bring hurt to us today? Our children, aren't they? Our children are shooting each other, aren't they? A little over a week ago, just over the hill, over our hill, not even a good mile as the bird flies, a little over a week ago, just over the shadow of this monastery. I dare not accuse anybody, but the evidence indicates that our children went to school to the ground. And this is going on over and over, and my beloved people, it isn't over. It isn't over at all. And the centerpiece that should be in the hearts of our children, the centerpiece that should be in the hearts of our children is simply not there. And they're not going to that centerpiece to learn what their purpose in life is, to learn that they are here and have been put here by someone greater than themselves, for him who is greater than themselves. And they are missing that kernel in their hearts. And the thing that is goading our children today is the challenge to do it. And fathers, listen. Where are our children getting their instructions? Who is teaching our children today? Who is giving our children example today? Are our fathers giving this example? I don't think so. Are our mothers giving this example? Good example? I don't think so. Because our fathers and mothers are far too busy trying to pay for a cushy existence. And our children eventually end up being in the way. And we pay them off with whatever they want. And our children are learning from what we ourselves have bought them and have paid for. We bought the instruments of instruction. We cannot blame the children for having learned when we bought their teacher. And our children see from that, and they learn from that. Oh yes, our children learn today by the time while they're still wearing diapers. Our children know things that boggle our minds. Our children, our infants in our arms today know more than we in my day knew when we were in high school. And they use this knowledge. And they use it very effectively. But there's no one there to take this knowledge and to funnel it into proper directions. There's no one there. And our church, which at one time was the leader and which did actually funnel things, the church which taught us, which inspired us, which gave us a good example, which did all the things that we needed to keep the children. Our church is not there. Our religious leaders are not there. Our religious leaders are not there to tell our children there is someone, somewhere, someplace to whom we must answer. And the sadness of it all is that the very religious leaders that themselves should be teaching the children who to answer to are themselves suffering from doubt. They themselves do not know. As a consequence, how can our religious leaders give what they do not themselves have? And who are the victims? Our children. And our fathers and our mothers must come to grips with that eventually, and must come to understand that in today's social structure, all of the opulence that we have to maintain and we have come to consider it as a necessity to maintain is a problem with taste. And so we have to earn enough money. It isn't enough for just the father to earn the money and bring home. That's not enough anymore. The mother has to go out and earn money too in order to pay or help pay the bills. I dare say a term that was used once upon a time is no longer in use today. It's quite a bit outmoded and probably quite a bit unfashionable for whatever reason, for a number of reasons perhaps, and probably even considered as a disgraceful term, and that is the term that was once held in very great reverence, namely housewife. Where are the housewives today? Where are the mothers today? Even the word mother which we always held in reverence. And how we sang hymns to Mother once upon a time. Today, the very word mother is a bad word, isn't it? And don't we use it in a bad way? And don't we use it in disgrace and unpleasantness and ugliness? Don't we? You see how we've traveled, and we call this progress. We haven't progressed at all. We've digressed. We've gone backward. Oh yes, scientifically perhaps we have progressed. Yes, we have. But is that actually progress? If what we have if what we have invented, if we have put to shape, if we have brought to be, has come to be an instrument of destruction for me, for us, and for our children, can we call that progress? Can we call that progress? What of that which we have invented, what of that which we have perfected, what of that that we have become the slaves to, what of it that has brought us 1 inch closer to our Creator? Rather, it has taken the focus off of Him, our Creator. It has taken the focus off of what He has told us we must do, our Creator. The focus has been turned from Him and has been placed on a little box, hardly as big as this lectern. And that has been and has become the focus of my attention. And I get all of my instruction from this. We do not have one, or rather we do, but we show cassettes on it, that's all. It is so weak and so poor it can hardly get beyond this building otherwise, so we dare not overtax it for fear it will explode. But that little box is what is our teacher to our children. And those of you that have taken time out, I shouldn't say you because it looks like I'm pointing my finger at you and that I'm suspicious of you. Never mind. That's not the case at all. By you, I mean whoever. Those of us, I'll put it that way. Those of us that have taken the time out to go into our children's rooms, open the door, which we still have a right to do. We have a right to look into our children's rooms. And that is that. Not only do we have a right to look into our children's rooms, we have a duty to look into our children's rooms. And if we take the time to look and see what our children are looking at, if we would take the time to listen at the songs that our children are listening to, if we would take that time, we would be shocked. And you know it. But too many of us want to keep that door closed. We are afraid to look into our children's lives. We are afraid to look at what our children are exposed to. We are afraid to look at what our children believe. We are afraid. Probably our fear is caused by the fact that if we do look, if we do listen, and if we are questioned by our children, are we not perhaps afraid that we would not know how to answer our children? That we would not have the answer to give our children? Because in our own room, in our own room, in our own room, we have our own box that we're looking at, which in its own way is feeding us what we know. And you want to know something? Believe it or not, whether they can see through walls or listen through closed doors or whatever, but our children know exactly what's going on in our rooms. And they are saying, if you can look at that, we can look at this. And you don't have a foot to stand on. And so we run. We run from our children. And our children go off on their own. And they shoot each other. There are those people who are telling us, or trying to tell us, oh, glorious millennium, glorious indeed, it will usher in the new age of happiness and contentment and plenty and love and affection and all of the good things. That's what the millennium is going to do for us. I wish. But in so doing, the millennium, if that's what the millennium is going to do, if the millennium is going to bring happiness and luxury and so forth, the millennium is going to bring in that which is going to be for me. And it has completely turned its focus off of him who has put purpose in me. And if that's the case, which it seems that it is the case, if that's the case, the new millennium has nothing but death, debauchery, stealing, murder, depression, unhappiness, and all of the other things that go along with it. That's what it seems that the millennium, as I am standing here today, has got in store for us. The truth of the matter is that this is true simply because we have lost focus in that which is the centerpiece, namely God. And until we return to that centerpiece, namely God, this will continue. No matter what we manufacture, no matter what we can buy out of the catalogs, no matter what we can find in the stores, unless and until we return to this centerpiece, which is a very simple, it has no charge, there's no cost, it is simply all I have to do, all that I have to do is this, is to go off by myself and say, I love you. That's all you got to do. But these three words, I love you, are the most difficult words in the entire language of the human race. That's all we have to do. And we can't do it. And we won't do it. Because I love you puts restraint on me. And nothing is supposed to put restraint on me because I am now the centerpiece of the universe. And if I am the centerpiece of the universe, everything else has to be excluded, has to be forsaken. That's where we are. Perhaps this is sadness on Father's Day. We should be talking health and good cheer. We are. If we're talking about God, this is health and good cheer. Because the salvation of my soul has to be, and the subject of the salvation of my soul has to be the happiest talking that I can involve myself in. And if I turn away from that happy talk, then there's only one other thing I can talk about, and that's what's in my pocket. And what is in my pocket does not satisfy me. If I have 1 shekel in my pocket, I will not be satisfied until I get 2 shekels, so I think. And after I get 2 shekels in my pocket, I will not be satisfied until I have 3. And our whole life, all of our lives, are involved in chasing about beautiful, I haven't told this story in a long time, so I'm going to take a chance of repeating it. Our whole lives are involved in chasing about lovely, beautiful soap bubbles. Oh, they're floating around all about us. They're so lovely, they're so beautiful, they're so colorful. I've just got to have one of those beautiful soap bubbles. And I chase, and I stumble, and I raise money, and I buy this, and I buy that in order that I can achieve, if I can just have one of those, I will sacrifice all I am, I will sacrifice all that I've got just to have one of those beautiful soap bubbles. Eventually, after years and years and years and years of struggle, great struggle, suffering, great suffering, I managed to cut my hand on one of those gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous soap bubbles. And I will not open my hand for fear that it might run away from me, that I will not have any more. And I run home as quickly as I can. And I shut the door and get somebody to lock it, because I don't want this to escape from me. Look at how many years I have traveled to have just this. And now I have got it. And with all the caution and all the joy that I've got in my heart, I'm a happy, 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 happy man. I have what I've been looking for. And very carefully, I open my hands and there's nothing there. My beloved people, how many times have we not done just that? Happy Father's Day. I wish you the best. Go out and tear houses down, tear doors open for the sake of Father. Put Father back where he belongs. Give the good example of Father. It depends on you. And as you go, we go. Oh yes, as the cradle, the hand who rocks the cradle. But today, who is the hand that rocks the cradle? Whose hand is it? And we have problems. God bless you. God keep you. God protect you. God give you the grace to be able to see the faith to be able to understand, and the hope to be able to look forward to. I live in hope, and I want you to live in hope, my beloved people.